Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. I'm so happy to be here today, and I want to dive into 7 simple truths about working in the niche of probates. This is a very lucrative niche, and it often seems to investors like it's complex or it's hard to navigate when it's actually pretty straightforward. So let's start with that number one truth. That is that investors think the probate process is complicated. In reality, it's pretty straightforward. It's a step-by-step process that I teach. And what investors need to know about this niche is that it's a process. It's a process that is pretty straightforward, and it's very similar from state to state. So I'm going to go through the basics. Now, understand that there are things happening behind the scenes that attorneys and courts take care of, but we're talking about what you need to know as an investor. So at the top of the process is someone passes away. Now, next, the estate is opened, and it's either a testate or intestate. Testate means there's a will. Intestate means there's not a will. If there is a will, the executor will be named in that will. In the absence of a will, then the court will appoint an administrator. And these two people are jointly referred to as the personal representative. The next thing that happens, and this is the important part for investors, and that is that the assets in the estate are sold. This means any property that's in the estate will be sold at this point in time. Now, you realize that that is right after the estate is opened and the personal representative is named. So it's early in the process, and you want to wait until this has happened because it's important that you deal with the personal representative. They are the decision maker. Once the assets in the estate are sold, then the debts are paid. The creditors are paid. So that money that was claimed from the sale of the assets then goes to pay the creditors, who are everyone that there's money owed to. Credit card companies, there might be a mortgage, certainly hospital bills, nursing home expenses, funeral expenses, whatever expenses there are, those will be paid out of the proceeds, assuming that there are enough proceeds there to cover those expenses. The next thing that happens is the heirs get what is coming to them. So you can see why the heirs, who may or may not be the executor or the administrator, you can see why they are motivated to move this process along. Now, after that, it's all over with. The estate is closed, and that's the end of it. So that is the process, the step-by-step process. Now, the next truth that trips people up has to do with the legal stuff. Now, I've just gone over the process with you, and this is something that attorneys and courts take care of. You don't take care of this. So all you need to know is how the process works and know that it will take place without you having to play a major role in that. So this is something that investors always worry about. And another thing they worry about is the terminology around probates. So the truth about this is there are a handful of terms that you need to know, that you can look at, study a little bit. And I promise you that these things are easy to know. They're terms like executor, administrator, personal representative, things like that. So they're easy for you to get a general knowledge around, and they're really quite simple. Now, the third thing that is true about probates, and this is huge, and that is that there is a never-ending stream of leads for your business for years to come. And when you take into consideration the baby boomer generation, which is known, they've coined a term around this called the silver tsunami. And what that means is there are going to be a couple of million properties dropped on the market every year for the next 2 decades. Think about that for a minute. There are 76 million baby boomers in this country. It is simply the cycle of life. It's the way real estate, the direction real estate is going to go in with regards to probates. There's going to be a huge amount of opportunity, which brings us to the next thing. That is number 4. And that is that we are not taking advantage of these folks like a lot of people think. The truth of this matter is that we get the privilege to help these folks at what is undeniably one of the toughest times in their lives. And make no mistake about it, they need our help. So think about this for a minute. You have your regular life, you have your job, your career, your children, whatever that looks like for you. You have your days pretty planned out as far as the way things go. And suddenly, on top of that, you get the job of settling this estate. You find out that you are the executor. Maybe you knew that already. Maybe you get appointed the administrator. Maybe you didn't know that was really going to happen. But at any rate, you have another big job on your hands, which includes selling the property and the estate. Now, think of this from a little bit different standpoint. If the house is not in the shape that it can be listed on the MLS without a lot of work or updates, it's going to be sold to an investor. What if you position yourself as the go-to person, as the probate investing expert, as the person who is uniquely qualified to help them with this problem? Think about the place that puts you in, that position of authority. So look at this as a gift to you and as a way you get to help these people, and you are helping them through this time, and they are so appreciative that you are there to help them. So that's number 4. Another truth, number 5, is that it's really quite easy to talk to these sellers once you grasp that you are there to help them. You have to understand this really through to your core, that this is something you get the privilege of doing. So they have a property they must sell. So they have a problem. And talking with these sellers is just a conversation. It's a conversation where we determine what they need to move forward. The goal is, of course, always to create a win-win for everybody. That's always our goal within real estate. And like any other type of real estate deal, probates are no different. There's always something else. What do they need? Do they have back taxes that are due on the property, maybe that they didn't even know about? Maybe there are code violations. It's very likely that the house needs to be cleaned out, and they've gotten the things out that they want. They've gotten mementos, all the things that they want out of the property. Now they still are stuck with a lot of stuff. So that's your opportunity to jump in and say, you can take what you want and I'll take care of the rest. I'll take this job off your plate. That's what they're looking for. You know, they are like any other seller, that they just want the problem solved. Now, when it comes to the sale of the property and the estate, one thing you need to understand is that they must sell the property. If this property is not directly being inherited, like in the case of a survivorship deed, husband and a wife, or it's not willed to someone in the estate, then it's going to be sold. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be sold. It's not a matter of if it's going to be sold, it's a matter of when it's going to be sold. Is it going to be sold this month or 6 months from now or 9 months or longer? It is going to be sold. So that is number 6. Just understand that this is the way that it works. Number 7, and finally, the last one, is it doesn't take you forever to become a probate expert in your marketplace. It just takes a few weeks and some dedication to becoming an expert. Of course, you have to implement what you learn. There is that. You have to take action. Now, I have a ton of information over on the blog, the Louisville Gals Real Estate blog. You can also listen directly to all of the podcast episodes right there on the blog. You can also listen to the podcast, Let's Talk Real Estate Investing podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts. So whatever route you choose, just know that there are a lot of options for you to learn. Now, if you want to shave some years off of your learning curve, then I recommend that you check out my course, Probate Investing Simplified. And you can do that at probateinvestingsimplified.com. You will learn the step-by-step process for becoming a probate investing expert and for building a probate investing business. And of course, I couldn't end this podcast without saying that I have a freebie for you too. If you want some tools that will help point you in the right direction for free, then be sure to sign up for my freebie, my Probate Investing Starter Kit. It will help you get started, and you'll get some information about probates. You'll get my probate investing roadmap graphic, and you'll get a probate letter template so that you can start your marketing. So that's a way that you can get started for free. And you get that at probateinvestingsimplified.com/starter kit. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful for you today. If you have a question around this topic or another topic that you would like me to talk about on the podcast, just shoot me an email at Sharon@SharonVornholt.com. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.